Hi, boys and girls. So today we're going to get ready to do a writing lesson. And before we do our writing, we're actually going to listen to a story that might spark some ideas about what to write about. So as we read our story, I want you to be thinking about what's happening in this story and what is the boy experiencing. Our story today is called Grandma's Records. And the author of this story is Eric Velazquez. And this is actually a personal narrative, which is what we're going to be starting. It is a story about his personal life. And he grew up in New York City in the 1960s. So this is going to be a little bit of a history lesson, too, about what his life was like growing up. All right, so let's take a look at it first. When I open up to Grandma's Records, here is my title page. And this page, first of all, let's talk what a record is. This has a picture of a record player and a record. This is a way that music was played, and you took this needle, set it on the record, and as the record spun around, the needle would read the little teeny indentations and dots, and that is how the music came out. So this, you can ask your parents, they might recognize a record player. This is what we're talking about. On this page, the book has been dedicated, and it says, for my grandmother, Carmen Maldonado, 1909 to 1983. That means that was when she lived. This song is for you. But I want you to notice what else is on this page. Can you see? Above it, it is also written in Spanish. Para mi abuela, Carmen Maldonado, esta canción es para ti. So that should give you an idea about our author, Eric Velazquez. It's dedicated to her. So maybe Grandma spoke Spanish since it's written in both. All right, so as we read this book, Eric is going to describe his memories of summers when he would go and spend them with Grandma. And so I want you to be thinking about your own memories of your past. Could be even a couple weeks ago past, but your own memories as we listen to this story together. Every year, right after the last day of school, I'd pack a suitcase with my cool summer clothes, my favorite toys, and a sketchbook. Then my dog Daisy and I were off to Grandma's apartment in El Barrio. Because my parents worked, Grandma's apartment was my summer home. So in the summers, he would visit while his parents kept working. From the time my parents dropped me off until the day they picked me up, Grandma wrapped me in her world of music. Sometimes when she played a record, we would dance together. Other times she would dance alone and tell me her stories about growing up in Puerto Rico. When Grandma played a merengue from the Dominican Republic, her hips would sway from side to side. As her favorite salsa record played, she'd say, just listen to the conga, while she played an imaginary drum. Grandma liked all types of music, but one record was very special to her. Whenever she played it, she would put her hand over her heart and close her eyes as she sang along. When it was over, Grandma would sometimes sit quietly, thinking about Grandpa and the old days in Centura of her hometown. Sometimes, Grandma said, a song can say everything that is in your heart as if it's written just for you. My favorite days were the ones when Grandma would tell me, you pick the records today. No matter what I would choose, Grandma would always say, siempre me gusta tu selección. I always like your selection. Sometimes I would sneak in Grandma's special song just to watch her put her hand over her heart and sing. Then she'd always ask, ¿Cómo te sabes? ¿Tú sabes? How did you know? If it was too hot to go outside, I'd spend hours looking through all of Grandma's album covers. I'd pick out my favorites and make sketches of the art. As I drew, I could see the record covers coming to life and the bands performing right there in Grandma's living room. Grandma never went to any nightclubs to see her favorite bands perform. She was happy just to stay home with me and listen to her scratchy records. But Centuries was home to hundreds of musicians, and she knew a lot of people who played on the records. Grandma's nephew Sammy played percussion in Rafael Cortillo's band, the best band in Puerto Rico. One day when the band was in town, Sammy brought over Cortillo and the band's lead singer Ismael Rivera for a surprise visit. Home cooked meals were hard to come by on the road, and they couldn't pass up the chance to taste Grandma's famous arroz con gandules, rice and pigeon peas. They're not real pigeons, it's just a name. So remember, he's reliving these memories, so he's got a moment of remembering them coming and the meals that they were having. While eating dessert, Sammy had another surprise for Grandma. 2 tickets to the band's first New York concert and their brand new record, which wasn't even in stores yet. I raced over to the record player, thrilled to be the first New Yorker to hear their latest music. So he's reliving these memories. The next day, Grandma and I spent all day shopping for clothes to wear to the show. She even made me get a haircut. I bet you guys would have to do the same. The theater was all the way up in the Bronx. We took the subway there, and Grandma was nervous during the whole ride. When we got to the theater, we walked past the long line of people and went right inside because of our special tickets. The theater was bigger than all the movie theaters I had ever gone to. The band made a spectacular entrance. Suddenly, the theater went dark. Tiny lights glittered, and a loud siren filled the air. I heard Grandma gasp, Ay, Dios mío! Oh my God! She thought something was wrong. The darkened stage seemed to fill with people running back and forth in confusion. Next, everything went dark again, and a loud, steady conga beat began. Boom, bak, boom, bak, boom, bak. Then the lights came on with a loud boom, and the band began to play the song El Bombón de Elena, Elena's Candy. This side of the band. Grandma and I were surprised how different the music sounded live. The musicians made familiar songs sound fresh by adding new musical phrases and words. Before the last song began, Ismael said, This one goes out to Carmen, and he pointed to Grandma as he sang her special song. I looked at her as she put her hand over her heart, raised the other hand, closed her eyes, and began to sing along. Ismael was singing to my grandma. Then I looked around and realized that everyone in the theater had their hands over their hearts, too. Look, see how the other people have it? Again, he's having a memory moment. After the show, we went backstage, and I asked Ishmael how he knew about Grandma's song. He explained that the song was about coming to a new country and having to leave those you love behind. People put their hands over their hearts to show that their hearts remain in Puerto Rico, even though they may be far away. Now I understood why Grandma's song was special to so many. Over the next days and weeks, Grandma and I put on our own shows imitating Cortillo's band. Grandma wished she had a special night. Grandma wished such a special night had been captured in a recording so that she could listen to it again and again. But even then, I knew that a concert is so special because it leaves you with the memory of a magical moment in time. As I got older, I started bringing over my records to play for Grandma. Brazilian music, jazz, and even rap. She loved listening to it all. Even now, when I'm playing CDs in my studio, I imagine I'm back in Grandma's living room and she turns to me and says, "You be the DJ today. Sempre me gusta tu selección." And as I work, Grandma's special song surrounds me. All right. So I'm going to actually get Grandma's special song. I have it here for us and put it on a link for you to be able to listen to. But this book should be starting to make you think about memories. So today you're going to do a little writing about special things done with loved ones. You can pick any memory with a loved one. It can be a grandma, a grandpa, aunt, uncle, brother, sister, mom, dad, not a dog, not a pet, a loved one, as in a person. And I want you to think about something special that you've done with that person. For example, Eric went to a concert with his grandma. That was a special thing they did together. After you think about it, I want you to write and submit a paragraph. A paragraph has 4, 5, or 6 sentences, and I want it to be detailed. Tell me, who is the loved one? What did you do? Describe the memories, the feelings, the things you saw and heard and maybe tasted and felt. It can be longer than a paragraph. If you want to write a whole page, you can. But I'm looking to see you getting your memories out and on paper. Okay, so today's lesson has to do with Eric and his memory of Grandma going to the concert. Think of your loved one memories and write about it on your assignment. I will post a link so you can listen to the song that was Grandma's song from our story today. Hope you enjoyed